And as we drift further and further into the playoffs, we are getting closer and closer to crowning an A² Series champion. My name is Kevin Young, and I'm glad to bring you here the action again for a Sunday evening for the ARCS Backyard Bar. A lot of iteration. It is the ARCS Backyard Bash 250 for the ARCS Midwest Barbecue A² Cup Series here on ABN Studios. My name is Kevin Young, and we are going to see some great action here tonight as we are in the final round of the playoffs before we see the crescendo of the season. We got 12 going down to 8 at the end of this round. One driver locked in, which is currently our pole sitter, Zach Millett. Everyone else not locked in yet. Could see a lot of shakeups here tonight. And at the end of the night, we'll find out the 8 remaining drivers fighting for a championship. We'll take a look around the field here right now. Most drivers have completed their laps. A few drivers on practice laps here for Bristol. Here's Lilac Zier. She's taking a few extra laps. Bren Roberts taking some laps along with Brandon Proudfoot. All take some laps. We'll focus on Lilac Zier. She seems to be the most up to speed here. And we're going to kind of ride on board with the hood camera for Lilac Zier. Currently right now coming into tonight, standing 5th in the standings. Comfortably in at the moment. Only 10 points ahead as now she's actually hitting the pit lane. So technically that lap we will not be able to keep riding on board with her. But she's 10 points ahead coming into tonight. So actually we'll focus on Bren Roberts here instead as he's doing some laps. And he is heavily torn up. So Ross Baxter, he actually has completed a quality lap, so we'll actually focus on him. So Ross Baxter, line power driver, trying to help bring home the constructors for line power here, still trying to keep the good form going under that wing as he will start his lap 1 and 2 here at Bristol for qualifying. Hearing in the chat right now, we see Baxter going. Ryan Pennell, our own Ryan Pennell in the number 12, dealing with a bit of a fever and some cold chills coming into tonight. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. He's driving a bit sick, but we know Jordan, 98, had a flu game. He did good. Tony Stewart in the hills of Watkins Glen when he wasn't feeling the weather. He did good. So this could be a situation that plays dividends for Ryan Pennell. Ross Baxter finishes his second flying lap. He will put it up to P17. And here's the team boss, the man, the myth, the legend, lurking, Tom Sears, as he's about to start his flying lap. Coming in tonight, he is 11th in the standings, currently 17 points back adrift from the cut line, which is currently Jeremy Braille, who is going to be his last season full-time in the A Series Cup Series. So we'll see what Sears can do here on his run. First lap in the books, going to be good enough for P11. We'll see now actually P12 is another driver right behind him, jumped across the line. I believe that one car was in question, Dale Markowski. So second run in the book for Mr. Sears. As he comes across the line, he will not improve on his lap any higher position. Markowski will also not improve. So first lap run for both as they will complete their laps. Minute 53 to go here in qualifying. Most drivers have done laps as pets always are a bit distracting right now. My cat is under my legs right now trying to do something. That's why I'm a little bit distracted. But we got minute 38 to go in quali. Every driver has put down at least an attempt of a lap. 2 drivers have not set times in James Kerr and Ryan Pennell. So they will not do that as we have a wonderful camera here that we can't see anything on the track. So I guess we'll take this opportunity while we're sitting here to take a look at the playoff standings as they currently run. Right now, you can see right now, Millett currently leads the way with his win. Hagen second, Pelty Sharp third, and then you can see how close it is on the cut line. Braille, currently the cut driver, 7 back. Remember, if we take our minds back to Watkins Glen, just 2 weeks ago, he was on the outside looking in, and he drove his way into the final 12. So Braille is no stranger doing that. And look at those drivers on the outside looking in. Feather Place, regular season champion a season ago. Made the Final 4 last season. He's currently outside looking in. Tom Sears, team boss, looking to make a round of 8 here. Stefan Oberstadt was definitely a sneaky driver at Bristol last year. Barely got into the playoffs and got himself in a tie at Bristol to get himself into the round of 12. And then you got Seth Wansing, who right now at the moment is not currently here. So if we take the checkered flag and he is not here, he will be automatically eliminated, giving us 11 drivers fighting over 8 spots. But we'll have to see if Wansing meets the count. Further up, Michelle, 7 points ahead. Zier, only 10. One bad stage or one early wreck could take you out of consideration. And when we look at the right side of the screen, you can see In green, 8 out of the 11 playoff drivers in the field are going to start off in the top 10. Only Sears, Proudfoot, and Oberstadt, who's in a must-win, will be outside looking in. We'll take a look at the silver bracket in a second, but we have now officially hit the end of qualifying. Zach Millett still leading his dominant ways here. He's won every playoff race so far this season, and he is going to start on pole for the main feature here for the Backyard Bash at Bristol. So as we get this wonderful camera angle again here, showing us pretty much all of nothing that we can see. You can see cars hitting the track. Speaking of, there is Dale Murkowski hitting the track, but that is Daniel Michelle in the Cheetos Mountain Dew machine. Speaking of, for the drivers that aren't in the regular season point standings anymore, they are obviously not fighting for anything, but the drivers that didn't qualify for the playoffs, they have the silver bracket to look forward to here. And you can see right now, Bren Roberts leads the way as he is currently 14 points ahead of Ryan Pinnell, 17 points ahead of Austin Mongold, who was fastest in the practice session. Keep note of that. Then you can see Kerr battles Baxter as the rest of the field styles on. So this is obviously a consolation prize for the drivers that didn't make the playoffs, but there is that perk that, again, the driver that wins this silver bracket playoffs, they have not qualified for the All-Star race. They get a free ticket to the All-Star race to participate and some other little oogies and googies. So we'll see how it all plays out. This is how the silver bracket lays out right now. 3 minutes and change to go here. Obviously, qualifying warm-up is going to be quick. A lot of drivers, though, are going to get some extra time, like Markowski. And you're going to see those timing scoring boards light up like a Christmas tree as tons of cars are going to file through, slot in, and put extra times down. Try to get that little extra oomph to try to get into the field. Speaking of, we'll take one more look at one on the standing here in just a second here. Do want to actually show the constructors' standings here as well. Haven't seen those in a long time, so it'd be good to see where these drivers hang out in the constructors' battles, and the extra little oogles and googles, because if you finish top of the constructors, you do get the extra all glory and a little bit of a prize as well. So it is important to make sure your drivers finish well in the constructors. So as we take a quick look at that here, if I can pull those up. There you can see it on the side of the screen, but let me just zoom it in here, make it a little bigger. And presto, you can see right now in the constructor standings, Line Power leads the way 197 points clear of Tombstone, which has then got a 1-point lead over B-Tron, then Presidential Racing, Carolina Beagles, and you can see the rest of the teams. And right now, Line Power leading the constructors like they did last season. Sears obviously had no real turnover from the second year. The only driver he kept was Feather Plays, and that was a late season addition. So Tom Sears definitely knows how to draft teammates and knows how to get the best out of them. And with only 3 rounds remaining, Talladega, Michigan, and Homestead, almost looks like it could be a lock for Line Power, but still, a couple weeks to go. Let's see how it all plays. So that's how the standings look. And with 2 minutes to go and some change, obviously we've been focused on Markowski in the pit lane. But right now, Zach Millett going back on track, and he is still showing why he's been the threat this playoffs. He's run a treat on this playoff scene. Speaking of, he won last week, and if you do want to see a great finish, you can see it on the social medias, but you can also go check the back catalog here on ABN Studios, where you can see all the previous weeks of A-Squared competition, along with some other series, including the new truck series, the high-octane truck series that appears on Saturdays, presented by Carmen Sienna. So you can catch all the A-Squared action here on ABN Studios on the YouTube, including the back catalog for the past year or two, well, at least for the A-Squared Cup Series. So make sure you tune in. So as he right on board here with Zach Millett, he's kind of giving us a good idea of what this track kind of feels like as he is just ripping and riding. And these short tracks, not the highest octane for passing. It's going to have to be about kind of making your move and keeping the car to stick if you want to be competitive out here. Again, for those tuning us into the chat as well, as we've got a minute to go in the action of warm-up. As you can see, Millett get a handful. Put your predictions down in the chat who you think with the drivers that will win today's race and who may be the 4 drivers going home in this field. Right now, obviously, Oberstadt's going to have the biggest tall task because he has to be in a must-win situation. But you can't count out Sears or Feather Plays. Both line power strong, having a way to climb their way in, and you still can't go against the Season 3 champion of Jerry Abreu, who could easily comes up when the chips are down as he's currently the cut driver. So it'll be a lot interesting to see how these narratives play out. We'll keep you updated throughout each stage break of where all the drivers roughly stand heading into tonight's festivities. So as warm-up's got 20 seconds left, Millet hit the pit lane. You can see Pelletier Sharp was side-by-side, I think, with Michael Lawrence. So Gear Cat side-by-side there through the corner. As we get ready to go for 250 miles around the last great Coliseum. So catch you on the outside, and we'll be ready for the starting grid in just a few moments. So as we get ready, you can see the transition from day to night as the cars get ready and hit the pit lane. We will take a look at the starting grid here and see where all the cars will fire off. Millet and Hagen will be off in row number 1. They had their photo finish last week at Kansas. They will keep the same front 2 spots the way they were last week, 1-2. Michelle and Featherplace will be the next 2. Featherplace obviously currently on the outside looking in. Will need a good run here and get some good stage points if he wants to keep his championship iterations alive. Pelty Sharp and Adams row 3. Pelty Sharp's only win this season came on a short track. Going to try to keep that good form going. Zier Braille row 4. Obviously, Braille, the cut driver, and Zier representing Presidential Racing, trying to give team boss Pinnell a win in the Constructors. Gaiman and Roberts, the next row, they'll make up the top 10 rows. Obviously, Roberts, the leader in the Silver Bracket Challenge. Markowski and Sears, next row in row number 6. Lurkentarm's got a lot of work to do. He'll fire off in P12. Moving further down, you got Proudfoot and Delayla. They'll be in row 7. Battles and Feemster, row number 8. Lawrence and Mongol, row 9. Ross Baxter and Stefan Oberstadt round the top 10. Oberstadt, lowest of the playoff drivers. He's going to have a big drive here tonight if he wants to make the next round. It'd be P20. Eldridge George, James Kerr going to be in row 11. And Ryan Pinnell, the sickly Ryan Pinnell here, dealing with a fever and some chills. He'll be firing off P23 out of a 23-car field. That's the wrong one. That's the one we're looking for. So 250 laps await these drivers here. Stage breaks at the laps of 50 and 125. We're going to delay one extra lap here. It is tradition on short tracks for these cars to get one little extra lap of pacing before we go and fire off. Well, we got this opportunity. If I had to throw out a prediction who I think is going to win this race, I don't think you can really go against Zach Millet being that driver, as he's really stepped up his game in the playoffs. But John Hagen, Brandon Featherplace, Dan Michelle have all brought it to him these past couple weeks, along with Josh Gaiman. So at Watkins Glen, along with even Proudfoot at Watkins Glen too. So a lot of drivers have brought the thunder to Millet. So his chin is eventually going to crack. So right now I think Millet's the favorite to take the victory here tonight, but don't count against the rest of the field here to find their way around him like the likes of Hagen, Featherplace, and Gaiman to do it. We get ready here. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane here. All cars will be pitting on the same side for the most part. Actually, we do got another half straightaway here, so we're going to see one little extra lap of pacing here. But like I said, all cars will be pitting on a single pit lane except for one car there lonesome on the other side, but probably will be allowed on the other side here. So we are going to see the pace car get ready. Going to pull on off. Control is going to be on green. After that, it will be on the leader's discretion. Green flag is out, and away we are for the Backyard Bash 250 here at Bristol. First lap in the books. Zach Millet will take the flag there. He will lead lap number 1 and keep his dominant form going. Hagen in second. And you can see battles already shaping up right for 6th as Braille is under pressure here from Adams. And then you can see Adams and Roberts side by side as well. As cars begin to fan out. For some drivers, getting stage points is going to be crucial. For others, they can maybe bleed a little bit, but you don't want to take that opportunity and end up bleeding too many points. Side by side, we see here, we're focused on this battle, is the closest. Roberts, Sharp. Right now at the moment, Roberts will hold station over Sears, but Sears already moving forward and moving forward quickly as he is now up at least 5 spots from where he fired off. He knows the mission statement, and he is doing his job right now as he's pinched on that high side, as Sharp is on the low side here. And with the stage ending so quickly, only ending at lap 50, is going to be a quick dash, considering laps around here are 15 seconds. That is 4 laps a minute. For retrospect, that's easily going to be a 10-minute stint if it stays green a little longer. You can see right there, Braille gets a little bit squirrely in front of Zier. That's going to check up the 74 Dr. Pepper machine, as he is now going to be side-by-side under pressure here. Focus on this. We're going to cut back up maybe in a second here. Then you can see Adams, Gaiman, Proudfoot there. Adams currently last car in on stage points, currently sitting in 10th. A little bit further up the train, you can see Sears still not dipping away from that high side. Going to be side-by-side with his teammate, Michelle. And there's no team orders here. Obviously, Lion Power wants to get as many cars in the constructors as they can, and in theory, if they can find a way to get all three, that would be beneficial to everyone's cause, but it's every driver for themselves. You're not going to dump a teammate for it, but you're not going to also give them some slack if you can try to punch your own golden ticket here. Right now, fastest car on track, more importantly, as you watch Sears battle, is that 84 machine up the road, as Daniel Michel very loose there. He's going to have to come up the road here and successfully merge. Right now, he's fighting now P9. A lot of time lost for that Cheetos machine. He could be under pressure here from falling outside the top 10. He's now slot back in line. So we're going to cut back. We'll stay on this battle for now. As you can see, Gaiman right now at the moment, side by side with Jonathan Adams to the last stage point. Adams still holding strong. Tom's, again, we got to cut back up here, so folks, on this. Tom Sears, man on a mission. A little bit further up here, you can see right now Sears up the third. Roberts now side by side in fourth. Cars moving forward quickly. Sears, biggest mover right now, up 9 spots. So he is flying in that number 14 machine. Speaking of, we'll actually ride on board inside the cockpit of this 14 just to show you what he's doing here. He is ripping it, the Massachusetts native. Obviously, the 81 with the Dr. Pepper sponsorship. Obviously, you think that's an Austin Mongol car, but that is John Hagan. As you can just see him smooth on the wheel here. Just keeping his line and keeping it successfully smooth here in that number 14. Speaking of, our race leader has caught a bit of lap traffic. Zach Millett, we'll cut to him in a second. You can see right now working around the other Dr. Pepper machine of Austin Mongold as he's now gone around. Back further back, again, just kind of cutting through a lot of battles here. Roberts got a little squirrely. He's lost a couple spots. Now side by side with Adams is now Proudfoot has worked his way inside the top 10. Roberts going to try to keep it. Adams, just a little pinch there. We'll end up losing 2 spots here, and now he's going to fall down to 10th. Roberts, Proudfoot having a bit of a battle here. Focus on this. You can all see just up the road as well. In this far shot, you can see right there, Sharp, everyone working around the lap car there of Austin Mongold. Only side-by-side battle we have inside the top 10. As Proudfoot almost gets into the corner panel of Roberts. Luckily, they keep that clean, and we stay green. A little further up, Sharp has reeled in the 14 of Tom Sears here. Just to kind of show you in comparison how big the gap is from second place on down here, we're going to go wide shot again. There is obviously the 18-14 and 18 second, third, and fourth. And then here's Zach Millett, about half a straightaway ahead here, as he's already going to catch some lap traffic, including Alfred George and Ryan Pennell just up the road. Lap 20 officially in the books. Next time by, we'll have 30 to go in the stage. So we're just focusing on a lot of battles here as they rage on for war here. Sears still holding strong here. Ahead is Sharp. A little further back, you can see Feather Place, Michelle, Zier, all bit under a blanket here. James Kerr had to jump the pits here. We'll see if how torn up his car is. Looks like he's relatively okay, but he's going to go multiple laps down. Sears now under pressure from Sharp. They're going to be side by side here. We'll get on side. As you can see right there, Sharp almost gets to the corner panel of the 14. Riding on board with the 18. Right now, the only driver outside the actually 2 out drivers outside she and Alfred George, the only 2 drivers outside the United States. in this series. And right now she's doing good to get that car at P3. And look at that. Brandon Featherplace. Michelle, I think Tom Sears may have clipped the wall just a bit there on exit. And he has lost all that goodwill. He's now fallen down to 7th, side by side with Zier here. So Sears is going to have to be good here and get back in line and try to negate the damage here. He loves that high side, but it could be his kryptonite here. And Zier and Sears side by side here now for 7th. Yeah, look at that. More spots lost by that 14. It is all not cummed up roses. He is now outside the top 10, battling Jeremy Braille. They'll fall down 11th, but he's now got some chance to get back low, get back in rhythm if he needs to. Makes me wonder if he maybe burned up his stuff a little bit. Back up front, you can see Sharp, Hagen side by second and third. And you got Featherplace here in 4th with Michelle there in 5th. For the most part, single file for the most part here, as you'll see in the far shot here. Single file, as you can see right there, though, Gaiman and Feemster almost coming to blows. And now Braille going to try to make a move here on the low side. Kevin Feemster in that orange and blue machine. Can't 100% tell what it's sponsored by. It is a pretty car looking at right now, that 21. With Braille and the Dr. Pepper, all B-Tron cars rocking the Dr. Pepper colors, except probably for Adams. Actually, he drives Carolina Beagle, so my mistake. But regardless, everyone rocking the Dr. Pepper covers for B-Tron. As we focus on the last battle for the top 10, it is still smooth sailing up front for Zach Millett. He's opened up 2 seconds on John Hagen, who's now in second, who's holding his own, but still getting knocked on the door by Pelletier Sharp. Brandon Featherplace taking up his rearview mirrors. You can see Zier and Proudfoot side by side here for what would be de facto P6. Still side by side here. So you're going to have to concede spot here for the moment, but then you can see Roberts trying to come in shot here and get a run here. For the folks on this, you can just see in the far shot as well, Braille still knocking the door at Kevin Feemster here, knowing stage points are all in Cruciate here. Going to try to go high side on that 21 machine. Again, stage ends on lap 50, so this time we have 15 laps to go in the stage. That will tick by maybe a little over 3 minutes before we see the end of stage 1. So this stage flying by. There's only one driver's had an incident so far. That is James Kerr, who's now currently behind in the pit lane again here, trying to repair up his 74.5 machine. So we're going to cut back up to the lead again. There's Millett still holding it down. Hagen has opened up about a half a second gap on Pelletier Sharp for third. He got Featherplace 4th. Daniel Michelle 5th. Lilac Sear there in 6th. Tom Sears has actually officially gone a lap down. So something has gone wrong for the 14 in that car, and he needs all crucial stage points, and you can see him just pinned high side. He gets into Roberts. He's going to give Roberts the hooks accidentally, and that's going to be Feemster piling into Roberts. So that is going to be the first caution of the night. And it's just an odd situation all around. I think maybe, again, I'll have to see the replay again to get fully on that one, but I think Roberts kind of came up, possibly on Sears. Sears maybe hit the wall most. Regardless, that is not good for Sears and Roberts. Roberts obviously leads the silver bracket, and Sears obviously trying to can do in the playoffs here. So we'll take a look here on the flag here. You can obviously already see the incident happen here. So we'll play it back just a bit. See here, Sears just pinched high. Yeah, 2 drivers fighting over the real estate. You can say Sears tried to avoid the wall, piled in. Roberts maybe came up a little bit. Kind of hard to tell, but regardless, 2 drivers just fighting over the same piece of real estate there usually doesn't work out quite well. We'll take a second look at this as well, this time focusing on Brandon Roberts in this case from another angle. And you can see just trying to focus behind Zier here. Yeah, it's odd because Sears was kind of there but came low to avoid it. Roberts was going up, and you can see the contact there. We'll take one more look at this as well. This time we'll focus on the action in question. Obviously, we're going to go a little bit further back here, but we're going to focus on the 21 machine, if I can find him on my list, of Kevin Feemster. There he is. So right on board here with the 21, and we'll see what he saw through his eyes here. There's the contact just up the road, and bam, nowhere to go for the 21 to Kevin Feemster. And we'll take one more look at this as well. I do want to see it one more time just in cockpit as well, just for definitive kind of proof here. We'll take one more quick look, and we'll focus on the 84 again of Brandon Roberts. Just to see if he turned... Actually, we'll go 14 to Tom Sears. We'll see again, just kind of looking at it one more time inside the cockpit, just to see what the hands did going into that corner here. So we're focusing on Tom Sears here, and we'll let it play out here and see what exactly he was going through in this wall. Just pinned high, trying to fight the wheel, and yeah, just trying to keep the car straight, trying to deal with a car that may have burned up its stuff. And then Roberts kind of trying to clear, trying to keep the run going, and both cars meeting in the middle and end up taking both cars with some heavy damage. So there you can see Sears on the pit lane. Obviously been a long time since his last win. Right now trying to get into the round of 12, but with that damage, all cars do get one fast repair, but still, it is going to be a long road for that 14 to climb back in. Back up front, it's Millet, Hagan, Sharp, Featherplace, Michelle, your top 5. As we should get the one to go next time by here. And if we do get it, we'll have, on lap 45, we'll have a 6-lap dash for the end of the stage. And this kind of helped bail out some drivers that maybe fell a little bit further back. Stefan Oberstedt, for instance, right now in 12th. It's going to be a tall ask for him to get inside the top 10, and in turn being 35 points back coming into the night. He's basically in a must-win, but getting any stage points can at least help him just in case chaos happens around. Tom Sears now officially one lap down along with Mongold and George. So he's going to be in the lucky dog battle between the three of them to try to get back on this lead lap here. So lights out on the pace car. Officially one lap to go in the stage. It's going to be, well, we'll have to go in the, not the stage. One lap to go here under pacing. 6 laps to go when we take the green in the stage. Millet, Hagan, row 1. Sharp, Featherplace, row 2. Michelle, Zier, row 3. Proudfoot, Game in row 4. Braille, Feemster, your first 5 rows. So control will be on Zach Millet in this case, as he will have full control on the restart here. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. He's into the restart zone. Green flag, away we go. Almost spun the tires there, Millet, but he fires off correctly. He'll take first. Hagan in second. Keep an eye on third, though. Featherplace caught Sharp napping a little bit here, as they are trying to clear Sharp here. And you can all see Zier and Michelle. Featherplace now in third, Sharp the fourth. Gaiman, Michelle, and Zier side by side for 5th and 6th. Gaiman right there as well. Keep an eye on the lead here if it does shake up a little closer. Right now, though, all crucial stage points these cars fighting for. So keep an eye on this right now, including the last spot for the stage. Right now, that is Braille and Feemster side by side. You can see in the far shot. We're going to cut to that right now. You can see right there, Proudfoot has fallen to the clutches. Feemster still last driver in with stage points. Only driver in the silver bracket that has stage points at the moment. Back up front, you can see right now Hagan, with this new lease on life, has reeled in that 31. But can he get anything done here with 2 to go next time by? Ooh, Millet has slight blink there. Probably the storm traveling through New York. 2 laps to go here. Pit lane has officially been closed, so no drivers can take a pit stop here to end the stage. And they come off of 4, 1 lap to go. About 15 seconds separate Millet from another stage win here. He's right at high side. He's looking good at the moment. Hagan drifting back another 10th. Going to try to go low, change up the gear, but it's not going to be enough. Zach Millet will win stage number 1, and it's going to be a close battle there. You can see between Millet, Gaiman, Proudfoot, and Breo. But at the moment, it's Millet, Hagan, Featherplace, Sharp, Zier, Michelle, Gaiman, Braille, Proudfoot, Feemster, your top 10 for stage number 1 here. That's a good situation for Brandon Featherplace, who got a lot of stage points in stage 1.
Pelte Sharp also getting some decent points. She'll get 7. Sear will get 6. Michelle will get 5. Gaiman will get 4. Braille will get 3, so we'll at least extend a little bit on the lead on the cut line if you see cars coming down to pit here. So all drivers from 1 to 9 in the playoffs will get all points here. So we'll see how that shakes up in a second. I'll do some quick math, but right now, Millet will be your Stage 1 winner as all cars elect to pit here. So we see cars pitting. We can confirm at least one thing right now. Feather Place gains 5 points on Braille on the cut line right there. So the gap between him and Braille for the last spot in is currently 5 points. So that could easily be made up in a second stage here. As you can see, Hagen's crew will get him the win off, virtual win off pit lane. He will take P1, but a few cars electing to stay out for track position. So Hagen's crew will win the race off, 4 times fuel for all. But Markowski, DeLayla, and Roberts all elected to stay out here. And that is not good for Sears, as Sears was looking poised to get his lap back. He's now not going to be able to get the wave round here, as he will be pinned by DeLayla and Markowski, both staying out, as you'll see here on the hood camera. Sears, you can just see no way he can get the lap back this time by. So he's going to need a caution or something if he wants to get back on the lead lap. Luckily, though, he is the only car, I believe, 1 down. So if we get a caution before the stage ends, he'll kind of get bailed out and brought back in the stage. Meanwhile, speaking of the 2 drivers in the field, that gap has now opened up to 20 points on Tom Sears away from the cut line and 38 points away from Stefan Oberstedt is from the cut line. So not a must-win yet, but Sears is going to have a big stage 2. Oberstedt pretty much going to be probably in a must-win if he wants to get in. Lights officially out on the pace car. So Markowski and DeLayla, they'll make up row 1 here, both staying out, but did come under the caution before the stage concluded at lap 41. They'll be row number 1. Roberts, Millet will be row 2 here. So actually, Millet actually won the race off pit lane. I thought Hagen got it, but Millet will get it instead. Hagen, Feather Place, row 3. Sharp, Michelle, row 4. Gaiman and Zier will be the first 5 rows. Stage ends on lap 125. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Pace car going to take the lonesome trip down pit lane. Green flag is out, and away we go for stage number 2. Look at that fresh tire advantage, the speed. Millet will lead that lap. He went from 4th to 1st there, and you can all see Hagen trying to rip it around, just kind of showing that 2 tires may not be the way of row here. You kind of have to take those 4 freshies if you want to make it work, even with some slight differential. But obviously, Millet was running personal bests about a couple temps, 2 temps clear of Darmokowski, but still. Big rip as now Millet Hagen back up. Meanwhile, Sharp is pinned in traffic here. She's struggling to work her way around here. Feather Place as well. So they're both kind of buried behind Roberts, DeLayla, and Markowski. That's just allowing Hagen and Millet to drive away here. Sharp going to try to go high side here. We're right on board here with Lilac Zier in her Ford machine. She's got a good shot of the action right now. As you can see right now, Feather Place going to try to get around that high side of Roberts. Still side by side. Sharp now trying to keep forward going. You can see Feather Place clears. Now Zier will get clear as well, trying to go high side. And there's really no break here at Bristol. You're kind of just on the throttle most of the time. Unlike other tracks, other tri-ovals, where you're kind of given at least a little bit of a reprieve on the long straights, you don't get that luxury here. You're all gas all the time, just trying to keep the foot down. Speaking of, we do got some implications on the brackets. We'll go to the wide shot. You can see right there, Braille has gotten his way up to 9th. Needs to get kind of match Feather Place here with stage points. Because right now at the moment, knowing what we know, it's a 3-point swing. Actually, yeah, it's a 4-point swing between Feather Place and Braille right now. And if they run where they run right now, that would be a 1-point advantage for Braille going into the last stage, meaning that if Feather Place basically finished ahead of Braille, in theory, they'd be tied, but obviously Braille would have the win this season, so would have to go through the tiebreaker math. But right now, though, we won't worry about that. As you can see, cars working on Markowski here as they all try to navigate around here. So we'll cut back up to the lead. There's Zach Milton. He's got a 1.19 clear on Hagan. Mark DeLayla hanging tough, though, in that 80 machine. Unlike Markowski and Roberts, who both have fallen outside the top 10. Well, Markowski's not outside the top 10 yet, but probably going to fall out in a couple laps. That 80 is still ripping and riding, hanging on the back of John Hagan's bumper. Really taking advantage of this fresh track to try to make something happen. Obviously, DeLayla not in the playoffs, fighting for the silver bracket. Trying to get a good run for his own troubles. Danny Michelle, Jerry Braille, they're side by side. Brandon Featherplace along side by side with Lilac Zier. Zier will get clear. Featherplace will fall down to spot 6. Michelle and Braille will be 7th and 8th. Right now, 4 playoff drivers outside the top 10. One of those drivers, 2 of those drivers are a bit shocking. Are Josh Gaiman right now sitting in 16th and Brandon Proudfoot in 18th. Looks like they've gone to a slight bit of trouble here as they have now fallen further back here. And that's also risky, as you saw right there. There was Brandon Proudfoot. There is Zach Millett. And if they can, if he can catch the back of Proudfoot and Gaiman, that could be rut row for Proudfoot, who only came in tonight with a 14-point gap advantage. Obviously got those crucial stage points last stage. I'm going to bump him a little bit, but still. He actually lost a point to Braille overall the arc of the race, so he's actually 13 points above the cut line. If he goes a lap down and gets pinned, it could be a reap so for Braille, or even Featherplace. Focus on Braille right now and Featherplace. They've had a little bit of a battle here. They're close up. Right now, everyone's pretty much spaced out, as you see in the far shot here. Obviously, Featherplace, Zier, they're kind of scrapping around for spots, but outside of those two, it's pretty much smooth sailing. It's all cars just kind of riding around here, just getting a feel for things. They've kind of got their own little pockets, as you can all see through the track map. Ooh, look at that. Zier almost got punched there by Braille. Braille almost got in the rear. Looking at that track map, you can see just how close this field, how spaced out this field is in little pockets. So as that battle cools down a little bit here, we're going to cut back up to Millett, who's working his way through traffic, including Kevin Feems, who had to make an unscheduled stop early on in the stage here. So maybe some slight contact between some incident there, and you can see right now pinned high. Battling Mongol. That is for position. Actually, yeah, that is not for position. My mistake. Feemster is 1 down. 2 down, actually, for the green flag pit stop. And obviously, if he goes on another one, that pretty much be curtains for his chance to get back on the lead lap as we're riding the board here with Millett. He's kind of got a good run right now as he'll go low side of Austin Mongold and set his sights on catching the 21 of Kevin Feemster. Lap 80 officially started right now. But thanks for the opportunity again for everyone tuning in here on ABN Studios, here on ABN's YouTube page. My name is Kevin Young, bringing you the action for the ARCS Backyard Bash 250 for the ARCS Midwest Barbecue A-Squared Cup Series. Cut round for the round of 12. After tonight, we'll know the 8 drivers heading into Talladega with a chance to try to punch their ticket to Homestead in 3 weeks' time. Smell's still hanging strong. We'll do a quick go back a little bit. As you can see, Braille, it's pretty much kind of smooth sailing as Zier has fallen back a little bit. She's fallen to Jonathan Adams here. So Zier was kind of battling Featherplace and looks like she may got a little loose, a little contact. She's now fallen back in the clutches of Jonathan Adams here. Meanwhile, Brandon Featherplace, you can see just up the road, has caught Mark DeLayla. He's going to try to go low side here on that number 80 machine. And he's got to be careful. Positions matter, especially with Braille being so close behind. You want to cut into that deficit as much as you can because you don't know how many points you may need. You have that running tally in the back of your mind, and if you're listening to the broadcast, we'll keep you updated, but you still don't know what that number is. Is DeLayla going to go way high here? Featherplace has to get off the throttle just a bit because you don't want to have what we saw between Sears and Roberts. You both, two drivers kind of running over one real estate, both getting stuck, and then getting some heavy damage. Austin Mon going to be a bit of a pick here. Featherplace going to split the middles here, and he's going to get in the middle. Michelle going to try to follow his teammate through here. Middle, high, low. And it looks like smooth as butter for he. And you can look at Braille trying to push the issue. Adams gets into the Layla's bumper there. Adams still coming up the track. Almost gets into the 3 machine. And luckily, no caution called there. We keep it clean, but we'll take just a quick look at that again. As we switched away, you'll see it as we watch on board here with Adams. Just comes up the road, gets into the corner panel. Big shunt to the 80. They both get loose. DeLayla keeps speed. Adams hits the wall just a bit. Almost plows into Oberstadt. But luckily, we stay green. No caution will be thrown. But Adams is going to fall outside the top 10 here. He's now currently sitting in 16th. Meanwhile, Mark DeLayla, the other recipient, is now in 9th. Possible chance he could fall outside the top 10 with both Baxter sitting behind him right now on the long straight. Speaking of, with that little contusion, I think another contusion may have happened. Oberstadt now up to 8th here as they work their way around Austin Mongold. Now Ross Baxter side by side with Markowski. Silver bracket implications here. And Baxter will get clear. So put Baxter up a spot. He's now in 10th. And Markowski now down to 11th. Speaking of, we're going to cut back up to a race leader here. That's not our race leader. That's a race leader. Zach Milton, just again to show you how big of a gap. Again, I've brought up the map before, but just look at this right now. That is about 2 seconds clear of John Hagan. And he's about 6, like right now to Stefan Oberstadt, he's about halfway behind. And right now at the race, obviously stage ends at 125, so the chance of catching that tail into that pack isn't high. But Millen is putting down blistering laps as that last car in that train, which the 71 of Battles, is running 1598s, while Millet's running 1547. So he's gaining about a second every 2 laps on Josh Battles, who's currently about, give or take, about 2 seconds behind here. So there's a good chance that 31, if we stay green, is going to catch the tail end of that field here. And that could help out Hagan a bit, trying to reel him in. Meanwhile, we'll go through the field again. Hagan sitting in 2nd. Sharp in 3rd. She's holding it down. Brandon Featherplace in 4th. Michelle, teammate with Line Power, in 5th. And this is what I was talking about, bit team orders. Obviously, Michelle still comfortably in at the moment, but was only coming in tonight 7 points clear. Now up to 9 after the end of stage number 2. Stage 1, I should say. So obviously, still looking good, but every point matters. But with Featherplace, those points can be a bit more crucial, as he would basically be in a dead heat, I believe, with Braille if they finish this way at the end of stage 2. And it would basically be whoever finishes higher would get the stage, would get the victory in the stage. Oh, would get advance the next round, I should say, bearing any other catastrophe chaos. Speaking of the finish out, Zier there in 5th. Braille there in 6th. Stefan Oberstadt now in 8th. And look at that car park we have back here. This is basically the field. And I was talking about with the 61, the 22. Oh, 3 wide's not going to usually work heading into a corner like this. 2 playoff drivers in this, the 22 and the 61. 22 gets a little loose. Roberts will get 9th. Markowski will keep 10th. But you can see right now that 22 and that 61, knowing it's kind of crucial here to get back inside the top 10, are now 11th and 12th respectively. We'll focus on Josh Gaiman here as he's going to kind of get the good shot here. So he's going to go low side here and just show you how car park. Roberts just got around Oberstadt for an 8th. See that 22 still trying to pinch that thing low, just trying to get a run here. Alpha with a good run on the inside of Oberstadt. Should get clear here. He will. Then you can see in turn, Gaiman trying to follow suit here. You open up the hole, I'll follow through. It's basically the mantra right now, as both cars will gain spots respectively and are now back inside the top 10. This battle shakes up a little bit up the road here. Hagen has really reeled back in Zach Millett, multiple times fallen, as Millett has been struggling to get around that 21. I think that's cost him a little bit of time. I saw it flip from 3 laps to 2 laps to 3 laps. So I think Millett is kind of starting to feel the effects of traffic here. You can see through his hood camera, he's got a lot of more traffic here on this tail end. And this is that battle we were just watching. It's Pennell, Baxter, DeLayla, Oberstadt. This is the tail end of the top 10 here that he's caught. You can see right there trying to come up, but Pennell right there, Mr. Flu Game Ryan Pennell was just hanging that high line. And this is allowing Hagen to reel in this 31. Obviously right now Hagen's got 3 cars after the Gavate through. Millett's already basically thrown 3 back to that 81. Still multiple cars here. And just, again, kind of show the track map again here for retrospect. That 3 is right now currently sitting in 13th. So overall, though, a little bit of space. We should get up to 13th here. And this is not a helping Tom Sears as well. So all these cars are going to be on the same lap as him. And in turn, he'll have to try to take the wave. Right now, Sears is actually 2 down. So Sears' chance at a lucky dog isn't high at the moment as Millett gets clear here. Going to cut back a little bit here. Michelle Sharp. Michelle, I think, trying to clear Sharp there. Almost put Sharp in the fence. And now Zier going to go low side here on Sharp. They'll be side by side. Next time to go, we'll now have 10 laps to go in the stage. So drivers fighting for everything they can get here as now Featherplace has been promoted up to 3rd. Last driver in right now is Josh Gaiman. He's got a comfy gap to Jonathan Adams there. So top 10 looks to be unchallenged here at the moment. But Zach Millett is coming. So that's some clean track there just to show you on retrospect. Hagen has also got some smooth sailing as well. But up front, there you can see Markowski. And then you can see Adams. Probably will get to both cars for the end of this stage. So that could be, again, with Hagen being only a second away, that could play a factor here. This time, Bobs, you focus on Zach Millett. We will have 6 laps to go in the stage. Top 10 pretty much settled out for the most part here. All cars respectively about a couple tenths away. Keep an eye if anything changes, but right now, top 10 kind of holding it down here. 5 laps to go. Millett trying to sweep the stages again here. Hagen is there, closing the gap. And with that last car kind of up the road here, that 33 obviously does not want to go a lap down. Wants to pit with the leaders. He's going to maybe put up at least a little bit of a fight here. Tom Sears possibly going to go another lap down here. So it's gone bad, the worse for Sears. Makes you wonder where that short run car was. So getting the wall just a bit there. Hagen, though, has officially reeled back in this 31. So maybe Hagen's got a better long-run car here. 2 to go in the stage. Millett, Hagen, 1-2. Speaking of, you saw on the time and scoring board, Roberts was able to get around Braille. Again, major implications right now. That's going to give another point to Featherplace. Sierra also got around Michelle. White flag in the air. We're staying on this battle to the finish. Markowski could be a bit of a pick here. How aggressive does Hagen want to be here for 10 points? He's going to go low here. Going to be on the quarter panel, but it's not going to be enough. Millett will take stage number 2 here. Hagen's actually, sorry, it's lap 125, not lap 120. We still got 5 more laps. Yeah, my mistake on that one. I thought we were ending at lap 120. We're not. We're ending at 125. So this is still race on. Millet going to try to clear. That's going to open the door for Hagen. Millet was hoping that stage ended on 120, but it's not going to be the case. Millet, though, going to drive back around, and now clean track for that 31. And you can see on the map, no traffic. As you can see right now, next car will be Adams, who's a couple corners ahead. So they will have clean track, so Hagen will have to get around this 31 on pure pace, or hoping that 31 makes a mistake. Hagen going to go low again here. Drift low, trying to ride off corner exit. Can't get it done there. Now officially 2 to go on the stage. Called it prematurely. Millet, Hagen, Feather Place, Zier, Michelle, your top 5. That should not change, at least 3 through 5. Millet will take the white flag. Again, how aggressive does Hagen want to be here? He's got the points to make it to the next round, really. He doesn't have to be overly pressing, but obviously momentum, you want to try to stop this 31's momentum dead in its tracks. Through the last couple quarters here, it's going to be Millet still winning this stage. So premature call, but nothing changes. 31, 81 will be 1-2. Feather Place 3rd, Zier 4th, Michelle 5th, Sharp 6th, Robert 7th, Braille 8th, Proudfoot 9th, and Gaiman rounding out the top 10. 11 cars on the lead lap. Mark Adams will be the last one on the lead lap. Markowski will be the first one to get the wave around. The question is, after that, Pinnell, DeLayla, Oberstadt, Baxter, and Battles all 1 down. Lawrence, Mongol 2 down. Sears 3 down. So it has gone bad, the worst for Tom Sears. It looks like the curtain may officially have set sail on that 14, but with 1 stage to go, anything could change. As the cars take their pit stops here, we'll see whose virtual crew can win the race off pit lane. The cars cycle through again here. You can see all the cars take the wave rounds. I'm doing some quick math here, so bear with me for just a second. So doing some quick math here as we chat the brackets here a little bit. Top, worth noting right now, Michelle would still be second to last in at the moment. As we see a big hold there for Millet as he is a long stop there. 26, 27 seconds. May have got some damage here, electing to fix. So that is going to promote Hagen to the front here as his crew will win the race off pit lane. And obviously Millet has that win in his back pocket, but still, lengthy fix there for Millet. But to kind of go back to my point, doing the math here is now Millet will officially leave his box. He will stay on the lead lap. But Michelle is still last driver in at the moment. He would be not 11 clear, but he would be, sorry, doing quick math here. He's 4 points clear of Jeremy, no, it's not 4 points clear, sorry. He's 11 points clear of Jeremy Braille. But there's been a change there for the last spot in at the playoffs at the moment. Brandon Featherplace is now in the playoffs. He's currently 1 point ahead of Jeremy Braille. So right now, it's Hagen. It's obviously with the win Millet's got in. But right now, your eight drivers advancing are Millet, Hagen, Sharp, Proudfoot, Gaiman, Zier, Michelle, Featherplace. And Brandon Featherplace is going to lock off the front row here, is currently last car in, 1 point clear the Jeremy Braille. Watson obviously not here. He won't play mag factors. Sears and Oberstadt not getting stage points for the either of them. They're pretty much in must-wins. So right now, it's going to be a race between Featherplace, Braille, and Michelle. But Michelle being 11 clear, anything could play. But right now, that 34 is currently in the playoffs by 1 point. Meanwhile, we got Hagen, Featherplace, row 1 as the pace car takes advantage and comes off the pit lane. Green flag is out, and away we go. Great launch by the 81. Featherplace is going to try to keep second.
a mad dash to the finish line here. 120 laps await these drivers. Hagan, well clear, car spinning in the back. That's Proudfoot, who got very loose there sideways. Checked up, we stayed green. We'll take a quick look at that to see what happened. I think he just got loose on his own. We're playing it out here. Yeah, car just kicked on his own, went wide, gave the wall just a light tap. Didn't spin, and luckily no one collected him. We stayed green, but that's going to check up Ryan Pennell and himself, as they will both fall outside the top 10. But you can see right now, 22 going to try to get back in the top 10. Sears is obviously down for position. Next would be Adams, just a couple up the road. Meanwhile, Hagan back leading the way again. Roberts in second. Keep an eye on Zach Millett here, as he's already got himself up to 5th. Fixed up that car a little bit here. He is driving, and he wants to get back to that lead ASAP. Featherplace is falling down to 6th, and keep an eye on Braille and Featherplace. Right now, Featherplace 2, I believe he's 2 clear. I'm sorry, we're not taking stage 1. Yeah, he would be an advantage of 2 clear right now. If Braille gets around him, that could play factors, as that would go to tiebreaker procedure, and I'm not 100% what the tiebreaker is. If it's wins of the season, that would go to Braille, who won Daytona. If it's overall finish in the round of 8, it could be something different. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But right now, Braille, Featherplace, this is for what could be the last spot in the playoffs. We're focusing on our screen right now. I think both drivers maybe know this if they are listening. Obviously, some people are listening in. They know the mission statement. We're going to cut back up to the lead here. We'll keep an eye on this. Roberts has reeled in John Hagan. And obviously, Brad Roberts, a short track wonder, just trying, again, to extend his lead in the silver bracket here. Michelle there in third. Back, though, will cut. Featherplace, Braille, major implications in the playoffs. They are side by side here. .34 and the 74. And the 34 will hold charge. .34 will keep the charge right now, still holding strong. With the 74 not going away. We're going to cut back to the lead now as Roberts trying to work his way through traffic. Hagan as well. They've caught Feemster and Alfred George. Michelle is also in this battle. Looking for a handful of battles here. Hagan still holding. Michelle now with Roberts, former teammates at Sunday Money last season. Now Tombstone. Now driving for 2 separate teams. Still keeping the same numbers, though. Oh, Michelle just got a little loose. That's going to check up, and that's going to allow Michelle to fall into the clutches a little bit of Zier, who's just behind the road here. Back up front, though, Roberts, Hagan still 1-2 at the moment. What can Roberts do? Can he get a run? Presumably there is one green flag pit stop, presumably in this stage. So things can play out. 84 going low side, trying to get that runoff corner exit. Not there on the corner panel. Hagan now getting a little bit of an extra push here. Will actually ride on board here with 31. I'm sorry, the 84, I should say. So he's got a good shot right now, kind of seeing what's going on here. Just about be methodical, holding your line, not make mistakes, just trying to make sure you don't drift the car up at a bad spot, and just keep the car planted on entry and exit. Obviously, it's been a long time since Roberts found victory lane. Give or take, it's not been a year yet. It's been technically a year in A squared, over a year, in terms of calendar, but not over a year yet. Trying to get that goose egg out of the column. Roberts keeping it on. Speaking of our two-stage winner, Zach Millett, buried in traffic here, but is still running decent lap times at the moment, running the fastest laps of the race, only kind of in a dead heat with Feather Place and Braille, who are also having still their close battles here. Again, this is what the playoffs brings. Drivers driving to the brink with 96 laps to go in the stage. The season for one of these two drivers could come down to one spot on track. And this is what these two are fighting for. Back up front, Roberts has really reeled in this 81. Keeping it low, trying to stay on those runs, get those runs he needs in corner entry and exit. Drifting back high again, just trying to get that extra 10th. Doing what that 81 is not doing. He's going to go back low. You were able to find victory. He would give him probably a big sentimental lead when it comes to the bracket challenge of the silver brackets. Should also report as well, remember, even as we watch battles, it's now Sharp and Braille are side by side here. Implications as well as now both Zier and Sharp have gotten a gap between Braille and Featherplace. There are instant penalties that could play a factor. Drivers rack up incident points or penalties throughout the season. They could deal the wrath of the stewards, and in turn could take a drive that's in to the outside. So we have to keep an eye on this as Sharp and Zier side by side for 6th. Braille not really wanting to see this. He has a better short run car, as that is giving distance to Featherplace and himself, and this is making that chance for the retiring A-square driver. Like, the sand grains are falling through the fingertips. Right now still holding that low side quite well. Sharp will get clear. Back up front, it's still the Hagen show. 6 tenths right now ahead of Roberts. And you can see we'll do a quick wrap around here. Michelle, as we now have hit officially 9 laps to go in the race. Michelle in 3rd. Millett has now gotten to 4th. As he's trying to get in. Featherplace, though, is hanging behind as well. I think it's crucial to keep that gap growing and keep that gap going. Then, after those two, you got Sharp there in 6th, Braille in 7th, Sear in 8th, Proudfoot in 9th, Gaiman in 10th. And then for the last playoff drivers, you got Oberstadt in 14th, first car 1 down, and Tom Sears, it's all gone wrong from that 14. 3 laps down, currently sitting in 20th. Would need a miracle to get back on as the race leader looks poised to put him another lap down, put him 4 down. So we jump around battle here, see what we got on screen here. We're going to focus on Michelle, Millett, and Featherplace. Now Roberts has fallen into the clutches. It looks like his stuff is burned up a bit. He's now under prey here as Roberts has been caught by Michelle and Millett. Millett on the low side, trying to clear that 25. Can't get it done there. They'll still be side by side here. But I think it's more of a when, not an if. Oh, but look at that good run the 25 got. So maybe I need to put a foot in my mouth here. But look at the end low side. He'll try to arc up here. So high run gets the groove, but that low side, he is just planting that thing down there. And Millett will get clear, so put Millett now to 2nd. Roberts will keep 3rd. Michelle down to 4th. And Millett, knowing the mission statement, knowing what he wants to do, wants to keep this dominant form going in this playoffs. Has won the opening 3 rounds. Looking to go 4 for 4. If that's the case, we may have to put a Wendy's sponsorship on the machine. But he's got about 1.45 to Hagen. And you can see Roberts, Michelle, Featherplace, Sharp, and this is where it gets a little bit antsy too. Right now, with Featherplace in, he's kind of in a rough spot. He knows, presumably, maybe getting it relayed in his headset, what he needs to do. But it takes one driver maybe getting a little antsy, because all these drivers are fighting for themselves, fighting for their own spots. But it takes one driver saying, hey, I can get a run here, or one lap car saying, hey, I got a bad run off a corner exit, and that could hurt Featherplace. So Featherplace needs to be on the aggressive, but at the same point, to get as many extra points as he can ahead of Braille, just in case chaos happens. But at the same point, there you can see Sharp driving in heavily deep there. You don't want to end up getting upended or get loose and then fall back into the clutches of Braille, who's now about some change back. Because right now he's 3 clear, but that can change.
Meanwhile, back up front, Millet has now reeled in John Hagen. We know Hagen has a better long-run car here, but Millet has just reeled in this 81 machine to Hagen. Hagen beating some traffic here. Look at that. He's got the 3 and the 60 all occupying his grill there. And this could be what Millet needs. We saw the reversal fortune work out in the 81's favor last stage, even though he didn't get it done. Same thing here. Oh, Oberstadt gets in the wall a little bit. Millet will get clear. So Millet Hagen still got some clean track. And we'll take a look at the track map here. Show you they got the 71, 33, and 12 occupying their mirrors right now just up the road. That could play a bit of a factor, and we'll even show you through how gap is. There you can see the pink 71 from Millet's camera, just how close they are to catching them, along with Markowski and Pinnell. After that, though, a lot of clean track. Top 2, Stoner Blanket. We're staying on this one for the moment, but just for worth noting, it's getting a little close to down the line between Sharp, Zier. You can see right here, there's Feather Place. Sharp, Michelle, all but on our blanket here as well. This is what we got close on track. Hagen, Millet, 1-2. Hagen clearing again, just trying to cut through this traffic. Millet still trying to reel in Hagen. Saw on the board there, Adams got around Proudfoot there, battling for the top 10. We'll cut to that now. Not much implications for Proudfoot. Proudfoot comfortably in at the moment, currently sitting in 10th. Will get himself back in the top 10. Okay, this battle for the lead is between 2 heavyweights. The 2 drivers have the best chance of making the Final Four at Miami in a couple weeks. And you can say the 2 drivers that may be fighting for the championship, the best chance of taking home the championship is between the 81 and 31 camps for Beatron, 81 of Beatron, and the 31 of Bandit. Obviously, I don't want to take away from the rest of the field. There's still strong drivers like Featherplace, Sharp, Zier, Michelle, Braille, Damon, Proudfoot. The whole field is strong. But these 2 have really stepped up their game when this playoffs have started. And it has been the 2 of them basically 1-2 for most weeks, excluding the Glen when Hagen went for a bit of ride. But Hagen's still holding on right now in first position. Hagen now putting extra time down. 7/10 and gaining. Yeah, gap is continuing to grow, so we're going to cut a little bit further back right now. Sharp, Zier, Featherplace, Roberts, all under a blanket here. Featherplace still doing what he needs to do to make the bracket. First car in, Bren Roberts making his final pit stop of the night. He is in with 60 laps to go. 61 if we're going to be technically math. The risk of going for the undercut is if the cars obviously crash out before he can get around, he'd be pinned multiple down, but obviously not in the playoffs. No major factors for DeLayla at this case. Roberts. Hagan still pulling. Millet almost got on the wall there. He is, I think, kind of killed his tires here. And this is what Hagan wants to see. He's got the better long-run car and is starting to flex his muscles right now. See in the chat, someone rooting for Lily right now. She's currently riding fourth. There she is. Right now with a battle with Zier. Something I don't think I'd say much today. Hagan has now opened up a second gap on Millet. It's the battle for fourth right now between Sharp and Zier. Sharp still holding strong in that low line, but Zier, sneaky fast driver in these playoffs right now. Coming in tonight, she was, I believe, 10 clear of the line. Sharp was 15. Both have been putting their nose to the grindstone. And we have a caution, and I think it was John Hagan. Our race leaders went around here. Heavy damage. Featherplace will pile in. Minor damage, though, for him. He'll be as the buff out. But something has happened to Hagan. And it may have been involved with a lap car here, possibly. You can see Ross Baxter heavily torn up here. So I'm thinking this may have had some implications with a lap car here. We'll take a look. Here you can see just up the road, you can already see the factors right there. Lap traffic, DeLayla, Baxter, Oberstadt all on shot. Hagan was trying to work his way through here. Keep an eye on this 81. Oh, DeLayla got in the Baxter. Baxter hit the wall. Okay, still no imp. Oh, DeLayla hooked Baxter accidentally and shot him in the Hagan. So it's not even Baxter's fault. DeLayla just two cars fighting for position and just nowhere to go for either. And you can see the implication that had. Hagan heavily torn up. We'll take another look. Focus on Hagan this time. And you'll just see coming through the exit right there. DeLayla on the corner panel. And that just gives Hagan the shunt there. And you can just see Hagan, even though came in tonight over 43 points clear, and with his two stage victories, not victories, but points in the stages, he's in the playoffs next round no matter what, but this could take him out of contention to win this race. We'll take two more looks at this. First, we'll focus on the 80 of DeLayla here. If I can find him, there he is. And obviously, you can't just sometimes beating and banging at these tracks. Obviously, fighting for position here. Actually, we'll wind just a little bit further back here. Obviously, there's the contact, but we're going to wind just a little bit further back. As we'll watch it half a corner straight down. So this is coming to the corner here. You can see DeLayla gets a run. Gives a little shunt to the 60. 60 maybe going a little cautious here. Trying to split it and just right on the corner panel. And DeLayla gets a little piece for his troubles as well in this incident. We'll take one more look at this as well. I want to focus on Brandon Featherplace here. Just to make sure, I want to see again if he got any damage. So we're riding aboard here with Featherplace. You saw him get a light shunt from Hagan. There's the car park. Obviously late to the party. I just want to see as he came low. Ooh, minor shunt. That should buff out, but obviously a little damage to that 34 who's in a tough spot right now. Well, is in a spot where he needs to make sure he finishes at a Braille. Back to live action. Interesting situations happened on the pit stops there. Pelletier Sharp came in. She took 2 tires, and she will stay out, presumably to the finish line. So she thinks 2 tires is the way to go. She wants the track position. Zach Millet now in second. Everyone else took 2 tires. Millet second, Zier third, Featherplace fourth, Breo now in fifth. And we know that 874 has a good short-run car. Hagan, Gaiman, Proudfoot, Michelle right there in 10th, and Adams in 9th. Oberstadt and Sears basically both multiple down, out of chances to make the playoffs unless they find a way to victory lane. So the game is on between Featherplace and Breo. Now, I keep harping on it, but it's really right now at the moment, if my math is correct, Breo would be dead tied with Featherplace. They'd both be equal on points. Because coming out of stage 2, Featherplace was 1 clear. And with Breo, actually, sorry, Featherplace would be ahead by 2 points. But if Breo gets clear, he would be dead tied. So right now, Featherplace clear by only 2 points
I'd have that 74 Dr. Pepper machine. Pelty Sharp will have control on the restart. Millet will be on the high side. Millet's had a good car on the short run. We'll see if he can keep that form going. Green is out, and away we go. Good launch there by Sharp. She'll hold the stage for now. Remember, at Phoenix, she made the two-car strategy work, so she's going to try to make that happen here again, but Millet going to be on that low side. But right now, Sharp holding on. She'll lead that lap. Keep an eye on this, but we're also keeping an eye. We'll go far shot here just to show you. Right now, again, 34 clear, 81 on the bumper. We're going to cut back to Hagen and Feather Place here. Proudfoot has also joined the fray. And this is pure chaos. This is pure playoff driving here. Zier, Damon, they almost come to blows there further back. Folks, on this, if Millet gets door by door, Sharp will jump back up. Hagen right in front, cleared. He will spin around again, hit the inside wall, come up the road. We will now have a caution. Rest of the cars pile in. I think Sears may have got a little piece there into, I think that may have been Delayla or Baxter. But we go to caution, but that could have been a lot worse for a lot of these cars up here. But Sears, not Sears, sorry. Blanking on the name. John Hagen. Chaos there, as he has now got a heavy crumpled front end, and that could be curtains for the 81. And again, I think he should still be good on math to make it. As coming in tonight at the end of the two stages, he was 60. I got total. He was 61 and then 6. Oh, I'm doing some quick math here just to see if he doesn't continue. Yeah, 12 points on 43. So he was 55 points ahead of the cut line. And considering the max amount of points you can get in a race is 60 before the stage points, yeah, Hagen is good regardless of what happens here. But obviously, incident point limits could play a factor. So Hagen has to be careful, but right now, Hagen will hit the pit stop. He will come on in. We'll see again if that is terminal damage for that 81. So he is in his box. So Sharp was hanging on well. Again, we want to recycle the field here. We're focused on Hagen, but let's get back up to the front here and focus on that too. Sharp, Millet, Featherplace, Proudfoot, Braille, your top 5. 2 tires with Sharp strategy seems to be working out for the moment. She was holding her own against Millet, and these extra caution laps will help her, but there's always that concern. And if she were to win, she would be I won't say a surprise winner. I don't want to take away from her flowers, but she'd definitely be a driver. We didn't have pegged winning here at Bristol. Definitely a top 5 car. Maybe not the best chance of winning, but right now she's holding it on. And remember, this is how she won at Phoenix. This same strategy call worked out for her at Phoenix, and she was able to find victory lane. And we'll do a quick little field update here. Hagen still came out of pit lane, so the car is still continuable. He will stay on the lead lap. But right now, we have, I believe, 13 cars on the lead lap. I believe Battles and Pinnell are both on the lead lap still. No, 12. We have 12 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Pinnell's the last car on the lead lap. Josh Battles is, I believe, 1 down. Oberstadt and the rest are 2 down. Roberts trying that undercut. Did not work. He's 2 down. And he's basically going to be fighting with up the 14th unless we get more cautions. We got the 1 to go. Sharp, Millet, row 1. Proudfoot, Featherplace, row 2. Gaiman, Braille, row 3. Michelle, Zier, row 4. Markowski, Adams, your first 5 rows here. 12 cars on the lead lap. We still have 19 cars still running. Mongol, George, Feemster, and Kerr all behind the wall. Pace car will pull on off. 41 laps to go. Away we go here. Great launch by Sharp again. Millet will hold on to second. Proudfoot in third. There you can see Feather Place undercharge here in fourth. Hagen now back up the fifth. Car looking pretty good for having to go through a war zone previously. Actually, that's Braille. My mistake. As now Braille and Feather Place, one spot separates the two of them right now again. Feather Place in at the moment, 2 points clear if my math is correct. Unofficial math. Gaiman gonna squirrel on Braille. Braille coming up the road in the Sear. That's heavy implications. Caution will be called. Braille damaged. Zier some damage as well. Sharp still holds the lead. Sharp will regain her place in line. But that could be what I was talking about earlier about implications. Chances at implications. Quick caution there, but obviously 2 cars involved. Didn't want to become a car park. So we'll take a look again here. There's my replay button working, and you'll just see again, just on the shot here. 2 drivers fighting for real estate. Yeah, Gaiman was kind of holding his line, got in the corner panel, and both got in. Luckily, again, it didn't swing up into more traffic with Braille. You can see Braille got a little bit of a donut there along with that spot. We'll take another look at this as well. A little further again here, and again, implications. Braille low side, 61 high side, just on the corner panel there, and right in his ear. But again, minor damage for both. Back to live action. Zier will actually elect the pit here this time by to fix that up. Hagen's coming back in to fix up his car. Obviously, the Dr. Pepper car threw me for a loop there. That thing is heavily torn. But Braille will stay out. Thinking the damage is minor. Does not have a meatball, so he wants to come on, stay on out, and get the track position here. Meanwhile, Sharp still leads the way with Millet in tow, Proudfoot in third. This has opened up the playoff spots wide open, because again, top 8 at the moment. As actually Sears looks like he's had a bit of a moment here. He looks okay. He said he popped up, he crashed, but may have just gotten the brakes there. But to kind of go to the point, right now the 8 drivers in the playoffs are Sharp, not any particular order, just go by where they currently are on track. Sharp, Millet, Proudfoot, Featherplace, Gaiman, Michelle, Hagen, Zier are the drivers in. They are the 8. And at the moment, believe Featherplace is 5 or 6 clear of Braille. But obviously if Featherplace spins or makes a loop, this could change. It's not over till the fat lady sings, as they would say. Got another lap of caution here. Zier's got her car fixed up quite nicely. You can see pretty much I don't think she burned a fast repair. She elected to get that damage repaired, but you can see if we can get a nice close shot, that left front very crinkled still. Yeah, it's you can see the tear in. But other than that, though, it should be a little... But you don't need aero that much at Bristol in these short tracks, so she should be relatively fine. So we'll get the one to go this time by, and when we take the green flag, we will have... Well, we are on 45 laps now. We'll be on 44 when they cross this time. We'll have 43 laps. Separate these drivers from the promised land. That's easily about 10 minutes of real-life time for these drivers if it stays green. See Sears trying to follow his way back in line here. It's going to be race on. Pace car, get it ready here to pull on off. It's going to be on Sharp's control. Another blink by Millet. Green flag is out, and away we go. Great launch by the 18. She will clear herself up into the outside line. Millet will go to second. Oh, the 8 of Jonathan Adams, very loose here. Hits the inside wall, but does not shoot up. We stay green, single car incident. Back up to Lily Peltier Sharp, holding down first. Millet, Proudfoot, 2-3.
Sharp, Millet, Proudfoot. You can see right there. Oh, Proudfoot got Featherplace got a little loose. Proudfoot's still straight. Featherplace got a little loose there. That's what I'm talking about. It's not over to the Fat Lady Sings, and there is Braille, 2 cars behind. Sharp still is away. We'll cut back up to that if the gap closes. Right now we're focused on this is basically major playoff implications. The one helpful thing for the 34 is 25 is a teammate who's probably still mathematically in the playoffs. So he doesn't have to force the issue. He could be a loyal real gun soldier if he wants. 61 loose again into Braille, into the outside wall. And that's going to be more damage for that. And Gaiman gets hit by Delayla. And that is going to be the caution. And now the question is, right now as they run, they were fine. But at the same point, though, more damage for these cars. They do have a fast repair. I believe Gaiman still has it, but this could play a factor because let's take a look. Right now, if you retire from this race right now, you're falling down to 19th. That could be enough points considering the fact that Gaiman coming tonight was only 13 above the line. Obviously with stage points, he got actually he lost points. So overall, he would be 12 points to Braille, 11 to Featherplace. If he falls out, that could be that. So we have to make sure, yeah, you got to make sure you finish inside the top 10 if you're a driver in the playoffs that's above the 8 if you want to make it through to the next round. We'll take a look at that incident. A few cars elected to come in, Braille, Zier, Hagen, and Gaiman. But we'll take a look here to see what exactly happened. They had the little run-in last time by. Gaiman comes up. Braille gets in the bumper there, gets the 61 loose. He shoots up the road right into the 74. Yeah, just nowhere to go. And then, yeah, nowhere for Delayla as well to go. We'll take another look at that from another angle. We'll focus on it this time by from this angle. You see there's just the bump, and it just gets 61 Squirrely trying to save it, but nowhere he can take it. And then thinks he's okay, but then Delayla just, ugh. One more look we'll take at this. We'll focus on Mark Delayla. We'll focus on board with Mark Delayla here. So right on board with the 80 machine. You see right there up the road is the contact. Delayla still nowhere to go. There's High, thinking to go high. Gets into Roberts, but you can see didn't fully get slowed down. And yeah, that's going to give 2 cars some damage here. Gaiman's got his car fully repaired, though. He has looked like he's burned a fast repair. Obviously, that he should. But he is now down to no fast repairs. Braille also looks like he burned a fast repair as well. So this is major implications. Right now, it's still those 8 that I listed. Hagen, Millet, Hagen, Sharp, Proudfoot, Gaiman, Zier, Michelle, Featherplace are in. But if a car has to retire, Gaiman, no fast repairs left. Braille, no fast repairs left. Michelle, I think, still has one. Zier should still have one unless that car looks heavily wounded. No, she still has hers, presumably. It could go all metaphorical up if a car burns it, because if you don't have that cushion, it could be GG. 25 laps to go. Again, at the moment, 19 cars still on the racing surface. Sears and Lawrence both 6 down. Meaning at the pace we're going, if we get within 6 laps, bearing any Greenwich records, you should be able to bring it home within at least a good spot, at least staying above 19th. Because it'd be P20 if you get there. Anyway, 24 to go, 23. It's going to be Sharp, Millet, row 1, Proudfoot, Featherplace, row 2, Michelle Markowski, row 3, Pinnell, Battles, row 4, Hagen, Braille, your first 5 rows. Green flag is out, and away we go. Good launch by Sharp. Millet will hold on to second. And you can see the battle for third between Proudfoot and Featherplace. Gaiman battle side by side for top 10. We're still focused on the lead, at least for now. We're going to cut a little bit further back. Hagen getting around Pinnell. Look at this little car park. Markowski, Pinnell, Hagen, battles Gaiman. All side by side. There's Braille. He knows the mission statement. He's got to get towards the front and get towards it quickly. Hagen will get clear of the Youngstown machine. Markowski will stay in 7th. Pinnell in 8th. Look at that. Gaiman, Braille, they're still not getting untouched here.
They're still having a little run-ins with each other here. Oh, battles right into Gaiman. Gaiman up the road again into Braille. And Oberstadt, Roberts piles in. And that could be, they've had 2 run-ins, make it a third, at least indirectly with a 71. And that could have major implications here. Braille, heavily wounded. I don't know if that car will continue as he'll try to drive away here. Looks like they're having a bit of a stare-off here. Oh, battles and Braille. You can see the frustrations here. As you can see, yeah, that rear tank link is broken on that 74 machine. It is over for Braille. The Season 3 champion going to retire at the end of the year, and it is curtains for Braille, as that is heavy damage. Gaiman also pretty wounded. That could be as well, and that could play implications, but the one thing is with Braille having damage too, this could save Gaiman. We'll take a look and see what exactly happened there. But major implications. 2 run-ins make it a third. We'll focus on the wide shot here, and you're just going to see Braille gets in the corner panel, battles right into Gaiman. Gaiman up the road into Braille. And there you can see Oberstadt with a big lick. Just nowhere to go for all those cars. This time we'll focus on Josh Battles. We'll get a nice close shot. Again, just minding his business in the top 10. And you can see 2 hungry drivers behind. That's the corner panel hook. Just a bit over-aggression by that 71. And you can just see the effect that had. I mean, not 71, the 74. 71 didn't do anything wrong. 71 was just trying to ride. Moving further on, we'll take a look again, this time for Stefan Oberstadt. We'll take a look on his onboard shot here as he just has a big lick. He's also in the playoffs. Was in a must-win spot. But this damage could possibly take him out of this race. There you can see the hook. And just, oh, big lick. Take a couple more looks at this as well. Take a look again on board with Jeremy Braille. So I do want to see it again from his perspective on his hood. So playing it out here. You can see the 71 trying to get clear up the road. Yeah, I don't even think it's even Braille being aggressive. It's just odd spot both cars hit, and you can just see the effects there. And you know it's a driver that needs to push up quickly. And you can just see as he drives down, that rear toe link is completely broken. That wheel is not moving on its own. So it is probably curtains for that 74, and you know there's frustration there. One more look. We'll just take one more look at this time from Robert's perspective. Take it from a far shot here. You can see just minding his own business. And you can see the... Actually, we'll go a little bit up here. We'll go wide shot here. Play it from a high in the sky cam. You can see the bump there. And at that point, it just becomes a track blocker. Good avoidance by Zier, though, to make it worse. And then you can see Roberts in. There's Sears, the Layla. Yeah, Gaiman clips Roberts at the end. But good avoidance by Zier. And we'll take one more look. I know I said that was the last look. We'll take one more look. This time we'll focus on Lilac Zier, as she has a great avoidance there to get through that wreck. So quickly we'll watch Lilac Zier, and we'll go back to live action. Gets on the brakes, sees the accident, goes low, and as smooth as you like it, she avoids the impact. So back to live action. Gaiman's still out there. Car is still competing, but look at that. Look how that thing looks turned in on the right side. I do not like the odds that thing will continue, but he's just trying to get points, not going a lap down. And we go green here quick. Sharp leads the way with Millet. And we are back under action here. Sharp, Millet, Prophet, Hagen, Preda plays Markowski were the top 6. That's the one downside being a one-man booth. Sometimes you don't know when we're about to go green. Sharp still holding it strong on 2 tires. Millet in second, Proudfoot in third. Major implication in the sense that with Braille no longer there, this should be smooth sailing for the very least for Feather Place to make it through. Further battle for third. Hagen trying to get there clear of Proudfoot. Can't get it done. 12 laps to go here. They're going to tick by like clockwork. Sharp still holding strong. $11 laps to go here. Sharp, Millet, Proudfoot, Hagen all in our shot. Pinnell up to 6, Markowski in 7th. Again, with that chaos, Ryan Pinnell going to gain some points in the silver bracket. Remember, he came in tonight very sick. Fever and Chills. Right now, he's still doing a good job. A little bit further back, you see Proudfoot and Hagen. Remember, they had their run in Indianapolis. You know these two are going to fight hard and don't have the best temperature with each other. But they're still at least keeping the nerve here. Side by side, though. Hagen doesn't need to force it. Don't want to make any more enemies here. Going to cut back up to the lead. Sharp still doing what she needs to do on those two tires. 8 laps to go. Millet, last time by, was about 1460 to a 1463. Advantage Millet. This time by, I think it's going to be a little faster. Millet again by 0.05 tenths. Millet clear. Sharp third, and you can see right in the far shot, Hagen, Proudfoot still side by side. We're going to cut to that for a second. We're going to cut back to the lead a minute. Hagen going to get clear. If we get another restart, Hagen could be a threat here. Proudfoot can go under, over, under. We're going to cut back up to Sharp and Millet. They are closing in on each other. 6 laps to go. Millet going to go low side. Sharp going to try to stay high. Millet has been strong on that low side, but she can't get it done. Sharp hangs on. 5 laps to go. Hagen has won the battle at Proudfoot, but we're staying on this lead battle to the end here. 4 laps to go. Sharp holding off the giant of Millet. Can she keep doing it? We're right on board here with this 31. Putting all the pressure on the 18, but championship pressure can make diamonds, and Sharp is doing what she needs to do. 3 laps to go. Sharp still leading the way. Millet almost in the wall. Good runoff entry on exit. Sharp going to stay on the high side here, forcing Millet to go to the low groove. This time by, 2 laps to go. Feather Place has gotten around Proudfoot. We are going to see the white flag in about 30 seconds here. What does Millet have in the tank? Can he keep this domination in the playoffs going? White flag in the air, brought to you by Smeal Racing Designs. If they touch, Hagen there in the distance. Sharp going to go middle. Millet going to get a good run. It's going to be a fight down to the 3 and 4. Sharp, Millet on the low side. Sharp on the high side. Sharp going to get the run off, and she will find victory here in Bristol. Millet in second, Hagen in third. Pelletier Sharp's 2-tire strategy has played out a treat, and she has won. She has stopped Millet's domination, and she has gotten her first win since Phoenix. And even though she was pretty much into the playoffs, after basically the points she had, she was more than likely in. She has now locked herself into the next round regardless. So no math for her. She is in, and she has won. Ken can't take away from Milt with the drive there. We'll hear his thoughts in that situation along with Sharps and Hagen's. So don't go anywhere. But you can see even Milt stopped on the stretch, maybe giving a little bit of regards to that 18. But sometimes the playoffs put you in situations where you need to put the hammer down. You need to find the speed. You need to make moves. And you just saw right now that 18, a urge to the pressure, and she is showing why that she could be a threat to crash the party at Homestead in a couple weeks. And this win will give her some extra playoff points too for the next round. Speaking of the playoffs, we can safely confirm with the math, with Braille out of this race, that the 8 drivers that made it through the next round are obviously Zach Millet with this win, then Pelletier Sharp second, then it'll be Hagen, Proudfoot, Gaiman, Zier, Michelle, Featherplace will be the 8 drivers, with Braille, Wanzing, Sears, and Oberstedt, even though technically it would probably be Braille, Sears, Oberstedt, Wanzing by math, eliminated. And that's some strong driver. That's 2 out in this series out of the 4. Yeah, that's a 2-time champ. 3, for reference point, 3 champions just got eliminated. 3 former champions just got, 2 former champions that have won 3 titles just got eliminated in one fell swoop of a round, with Wanzing and Braille both out, bearing any incident point penalties and whatnot that could take shape. But at the moment, unofficially, again, it is Millet, Sharp, Hagen, Proudfoot, Gaiman, Zier, Michelle, Featherplace into the round of 8 next week at Talladega. But that was chaos of the highest order. You can't take away anything from Sharp. Great drive she had. So we'll take a look here at the final results. That's the starting grid. We want the final results. Ooh, there we go. And Pelletier Sharp will take race victory here with Zach Millet in second
and John Hagan rounding out the podium. Then you got Feather Place and Proudfoot rounding out the top 5. Again, got to give your hat tip to Feather Place. He knew the mission statement coming into tonight, 9 points down, had to have a good drive made up for last week, and he did so exponentially. He is presumably through to the round of 8, as long as the math holds. Ryan Pennell, again, being 6th, you got to give a hat tip to him, getting a 6th place for Presidential Racing. Highest of the silver bracket drivers. So, again, good run for him, being sick and all that. Lilac Sears 7th, Dale Markowski 8th, Daniel Michelle 9th. Josh Battles getting a top 10 in recovery. Gaiman 11th, and now we're getting, actually, only 9 cars finished on the lead lap. Mitch Battles was the first one down along with Gaiman. Then you got DeLayla, Baxter, 2 down, 12th, 13th. Bren Roberts finishing 2 laps down to 14th. Stefan Oberstadt with the damage from that incident finishing 15th. Michael Lawrence first to retirement in 16th. Braille in 17th. Sears in 18th. Adams in 19th. Austin Mongold rounding out the top 20. And finishing up through the field here, you got Alfred George, Kevin Feemster, and James Kerr rounding out the top 23. So that was a very exciting race at Bristol, and now we will hear from the top 3. Presumably they're all in here at the moment. We'll see if we can find them. But when we do, we will get the top 3. Just give me 2 seconds to make sure all the audio is good. And we'll now see if anyone is ready for any interviews here. We do have second and first, so we'll go... Don't know if Hagan is still obviously in the chat, so see if we can get him. We'll go, usually we go 3, 2, 1. We'll see if we give Hagan another second here to get into the poems. I'd like to go 3, 2, 1, but if he's not, we'll go 1, 2, 3. Oh, he is now in. So we will go 3, 2, 1 here, and we'll hear the thoughts from Hagan, Millett, and Sharp. John, this is Kevin the A-Band Booth. You got a copy?
I do. Hello.
All right. Obviously, you had a eventful race, per se, a lot of strong performances, and obviously, with your performance, you are locked in the next round regardless, but we'll have to hear your thoughts about Bristol here tonight. Take us through the tractors. You looked like you had the second best car out there tonight, and you just seemed like that car was ripped out. So how did you find the key to success at Bristol?
Millett was a little bit more aggressive on his tires earlier in the run, which is why it might have looked like he was just clear shot better. We had, in reality, 2 different ways of driving. He wanted to get out and push his tires because the stints were a little shorter. I was waiting for that back half for them to come back towards me. So, I don't know. It definitely suited him a bunch more than it did me on the short run, and suited me more on the long run, as we saw in that third stage. But, I mean, it was really just keep it in one piece, keep it out of other people, which is what I was doing. Maintain my track position when I had to, and see how it goes in the final stage.
Moving further on, we saw you had that good battle in stage 2, and then you kind of hung out and you got that space in Millett. So I guess taking us to that final stage, you saw Millett was clear, and then I guess we'll have to kind of get to the elephant room. What happened with that incident you had with the lap down car with Baxter and DeLayla? What happened in that regard?
I mean, I had stretched out to like a second and a half. I was just knocking down laps, waiting for something to happen or to reach that pit window, and lap cars will be lap cars. That's all I'm going to say without being too rude. I got clipped, and that really just screwed me over for the rest of the race.
I do got to ask maybe a bit of a follow-up to that question as well. We saw then getting that second incident as well. Was that car ever truly back to normal? Or was that car, because we saw you still putting down good laps, and we know aero isn't really as important in Bristol as other tracks, but coming to those last couple laps, was that car still feeling the damage from that second incident, or was it mostly up to snuff?
I had all the damage fixed, and I didn't feel anything different. I also had slightly fresher tires than the leaders, which is, I wish there was a couple more laps, but there wasn't. So I was just really getting through as much as I could and hopefully being there if those two tangled.
Moving further on, obviously, again, like I said, you pretty much mathematically make the playoffs, again, bearing any catastrophes. So you are in the next round. With the next 2 rounds being Talladega and Michigan, we know we talked to you early on in the year. You said that when looking at the calendar, this was going to be a bit of the sketchy zone for you. So do you still have that ideology that these 2 rounds could be a bit of a chaos situation? Or do you feel like this is going to be the situation where you lock up and clinch your ticket into Homestead maybe next week at Talladega?
I think Talladega is going to be the big race. You walk out of there with the top 5, or even a win, you're looking pretty good. So just avoid the trouble that likes to happen at super speedways. And if we can top 5 or even top 10 with that little bit of points cushion I got, that would be awesome. And it'd put us in a really good spot for Michigan, where we just have to run top 10 like we always do, and end up in the Final Four.
Yeah, Beachfront has a successful history at plate tracks, so we'll see if they can keep that going. But obviously, John, it's come to that part of the show where if there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Shout out my beautiful girlfriend. She always supports me whenever I do these. Shout out everybody at Beatron. Shout out everybody at ABN. You, Kevin, for throwing on this broadcast, doing a great job week in, week out. Shout out ARCS for putting this league on, and yeah, we'll go get it.
Alrighty, it's been great talking to you, John. Obviously, I feel like we talked for the end of the season, but if not, you take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
And that was our third place finisher, John Hagan. That will move us on nicely to our second place finisher, Zach Millett. First time we've had to say the name second from him in over a bunch of weeks, so we'll hear his thoughts now. Zach, this is Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Kevin, got a copy.
Obviously, it was a very eventful race there, and you were dominating. So we'll start off at the very beginning again. Obviously, coming tonight, you had that win. You didn't have to worry about it, but you winning this race, you were through to the next round. But you looked like that thing was on rails. So what was your secret to going around here and keep that car fast like you were?
Man, I hate to say, driving in the mirror, but I was kind of driving in the mirror, and right off the green flag, I didn't know how hard was too hard, so I was kind of seeing everybody kind of like fall off a little bit. So I backed it up and just kind of played it. And yeah, Hagen had me on the long run. It was just like last week, towards the end of the run, he started nipping away, and it was fun. It was a fun battle. And man, that penalty didn't help though. I didn't know I was past that pace car. And I'm watching the replay, and yeah, I was just barely a nose ahead. So man, range of emotions tonight.
That explains why I was wondering why we were going to ask that question, why you got held. Because you obviously couldn't speed really under caution, but it looks like you got hit with that penalty, and obviously you made that recovery. So I guess continuing on with that line of thought, you were driving up for the field, you were keeping that car quick, even though, was the car handling a bit different in traffic? Because we saw you were pushing, and then when you kind of got stuck at the air wash, you were holding even times with the cars around you, like Feather Place and Hagen and whatnot. So was that car really struggling in the once you got further back there, having to come up from the penalty at the end of stage 2?
No, it wasn't too bad. I was kind of just slowing the pace down to try to get, keep the tires under me. I didn't want to push too hard and just, run hard behind somebody. It didn't really make much sense at the time. So I just wanted to run, kind of what their pace was. And I knew the tires would kind of come back, and ended up making the passes I needed to make. And yeah, when Hagen got wrecked there, that was scary. I thought I was dead. I saw my whole life in front of me there for half a second, but.
Moving further on here, we obviously saw the incident in question where you were basically, we got the restart and we saw that late pit stop. Was there any thought in your mind you wanted to take 2 tires, or was 4 you felt like the call to go the rest of the way?
Yeah, we were talking about it. It just seemed like too many laps left for 2 tires. I was talking with Alyssa. I think she said she had 125 laps on her left side tires. And, from what practice showed, I mean, it seemed like your exit speed was, really suffering when you had that older left side. So I don't know. I figured, once we took 4 tires, we only had 1 car ahead of us on 2. I thought we were pretty good shape, but man, you could really hold that high line as she showed. And, she had, good pace, good enough pace to keep me behind her. And it's almost impossible to make that pass late in the run on that bottom side. You really have to send it on in there. And when you do that, you give up your exit speed. So it's just tough.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, again, we'll kind of go on that long point as well. Anything, because we saw you kind of anything those last 10 laps. Was there anything you could do? Because we saw you side by side with that 18. Take us to those last 10 laps. What was kind of going to mind to try to make that move stick on that 18?
Well, I knew how hard it was on the bottom, but I still wanted to at least give it a shot. And then, of course, just like the beginning of the race, I looked in my mirror and I saw Hagen was coming, and he had fresher tires, I think, by 20 laps at least. So he was running 14 6s and 7s. I mean, he was flying, and I knew I'd get maybe just a couple shots at Alyssa. And I tried it once on the bottom, and just kind of like I thought, I just didn't have any exit speed. Couldn't stay alongside her down the back. And really, the only other way I could have maybe made that pass was maybe bump her on entry, send her a little too hot into the corner, and then maybe cut down and get past her. But it just wasn't worth it, being, safe in the playoffs, and I didn't want to wreck her. And I think a P2 at Bristol is a pretty good night.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, we'll obviously move on with looking at the calendar. Next week is going to be the 2 tracks that a lot of drivers are a little bit interested about, with Talladega being one and Michigan being the other. So take us through this last round before we see the Final Four and your thoughts on it. Do you think do you think A, we can see you keep this domination going and getting a win in one of those 2 rounds? And B, does this round possibly scare you? Does it put you in a bad spot, or do you think you're just going to put your nose to the grindstone and do what you need to do to get to Miami?
Yeah, we're just gonna keep our nose forward and do what we got to do. I think in a perfect world we can get at least one W out of those two races. Talladega's kind of a roll the dice, and your fate's in everybody else's hands around you. So we'll see if we can get with our friends out there and people we trust, and see if we can just make a run. And if we get a top 5 or 10 at Talladega, that's a pretty good day. Michigan's fun. I mean, that with this group of guys and girls, I bet you it'll be fun. It'll be insane racing. So I'm looking forward to both of them. Really, I just want to get to that finale and see if we can make that Final Four.
All right. Well, obviously, we got to that portion of the show where you can thank your family, friends, or sponsors, whatever. The floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, big thanks to you, Kevin, and ABN for the broadcast. Big thanks to ARCS, all the admins, all the time they put into it and everything. Really appreciate it. HBR TV, HBRTV1.com, Track Bar Media, Track Bar Motorsports, Castle, PAX Power. Big shout out to Chris Goins and Jesse Redding for spotting for me and keeping me in the loop on where people were dying, keeping me alive. And shoot me a follow over on Twitch at That Is For Guy.
All right. Great talking to you again, Zach. I feel like we're talking to you for the end of the season, but if not, you take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, buddy.
And that is our second place finisher, Zach Millett, and that leaves us with one more driver to hear their thoughts now. That will be our race winner, Alyssa Pelletier-Sharp. We'll hear their thoughts now. Alyssa, this is Kevin ABM Booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got ya.
Alrighty, obviously second win of the year, but we'll get to that in a minute. We'll have to start at the beginning. You were obviously having a good run. You were running top 5 throughout most of the night, so I asked Millett and Hagan this question, so I'll ask you the same. What were your thoughts about Bristol, and what was your key to success out there, keeping the car as fast as you needed it to be?
So I know Bristol's a stronger suit sort of track for me, but it's sort of tough with this car with trying to save on the bottom, but also not trying to get absolutely freight trained by people on the top. So it was definitely harder in sort of stage 2 than stage 1 to keep the tires where you wanted them, because they were just getting massively burnt off. I think that's what sort of made me struggle, especially in stage 2, losing a couple positions at the end there.
Moving further on, we obviously saw the first 2 stages. You were kind of just riding around for the most part. You got I think a 4th and a 6th in the first 2 stages. We're doing what you need to do to make sure you kept yourself in the playoff bracket. And then you saw that late caution with Hagan. So I got to ask this question. What compelled you to do the 2 tires when everyone else was doing 4? That maybe it was a throwback to Phoenix, where you did that same strategy and it worked out? Maybe roll the dice, perhaps?
Phoenix was like 40 laps on no tires, so it's definitely shades of Phoenix, but I was always planning to go a bit longer in stage 3, sort of the 200 to 215 mark and take 2. When I saw that caution, I saw I had 50 laps-ish to go. I'm like, screw it, I have to do it. I have to try something. Millett's strong. Millett was super strong. I was like, it wasn't really a roll of the dice, and all those cautions thereafter helped a ton with keeping that right front on it for so long. It was getting tight. I will say it was getting tight.
I could imagine, considering that with old tires, it can make that thing feel very tight, and you were keeping it going. And that will lead us on nicely to the next question. With how you were ripping it around that high side, just trying to make it work. Obviously, I felt like, I guess it's maybe a two-parter here. What was keeping you in line? Because you were holding Millett back so much and so well, and in turn, was that high side the best thing that car had all night? Because it was really, when you were on that high side, you were keeping runs off. So I guess, what was keeping you in line, keep Millett behind you to get that race victory?
So I feel like with the 2-tire call that I made, the lefts, due to how much wear they had on them, weren't going to be spinning up as much, sort of making me loose off, as, say, new tires would. So I feel like I could plant the throttle more, sort of be more aggressive, and just try and just send it on the top every time, because you can't pass on the bottom here. It's nigh on impossible unless the car on the top is significantly off pace due to being slow
Mm-hmm.
or old tires.
Yep. Well, yep. Obviously, strategy worked well to your elements there. Obviously, with your win, even though you were probably going to make the playoffs anyway, your win here locks yourself to the next round. And now with the next rounds being Talladega, Michigan, do you think there's a chance you could find victory or get some good runs there to give yourself a good chance to make the Final Four in 3 weeks' time?
Problem's going to be Dega. Drafting track, it's gonna be a nightmare. So I'm just gonna need to have my car clean, just the entire time there. Michigan, I feel I can have a strong run at Michigan. It's just Dega's going to be the concern. If I can have a strong finish there, Dega, I can do it. I think I can get to the Final Four. But
well, obviously, we'll have to see how that plays out over the next couple weeks. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, whatever? The floor is yours. Take it away.
Emma, just for signing me on to GearCast at the end of this year, Noreen's believing in me, my teammates. They've been excellent this entire year, entire season. You for broadcasting, and just A Squared for hosting the ARCS for hosting the A Squared Cup Series Championship.
Alrighty, well, that is all. It's been great talking to you, Alyssa. I'll have a feeling we'll talk for the next couple weeks, but if not, you take care. Have a good rest of your week.
You too.
And that was our race winner, Alyssa Pelletier-Sharp. And that will do it for tonight through interviews. Again, like we went over the last couple rounds, this is the round of 12 has now officially concluded. And presumably, again, bearing math, bearing other things, the 8 drivers making it through again, just in case anyone's still here and wants to know, those drivers are, obviously with wins, Sharp and Millet, and then it's Hagan, Proudfoot, Gaiman, Zier, Michelle, and Featherplace, all fighting for a championship for the next 2 weeks, Talladega. So obviously, Dega next week, the ultimate wild card. Some driver could punch their ticket to Homestead. We'll have to see how it all plays out. And then we have Michigan, the final cutoff round before we see the Final Four take flight at Homestead, Miami. But thank you for tuning in for tonight's broadcast. My name has been Kevin Young. It's been great talking to you. Great broadcast of this race. And we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. For everyone still watching, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, and have a good rest of your evening.